Here we are. Howdy, everybody. It's Wednesday night. I'm Bob Harris, little-known fantasy expert. Find me at footballdiehards.com. This is our YouTube channel, our usual Wednesday night on the hot seat session. We're doing another mock draft. Hopefully, we've got the imagery in a better position for you this time. I think we do. So you can see the draft a little better. We have our drafters in place. So if you didn't get in, you'll see email has a email address that he's put in the chat. Hello, James. Good luck in the draft. So you can, if you want to get in on a future one, you can shoot an email, if you will. Adjust my lights a little bit. Shining brightly. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for coming. Not a lot of news this week. Some newsy gossip is what's going on this week, as usual. Robert Woods was released today. Randy Bullock by the Tennessee Titans. Brock Purdy. They're delaying his surgery on his elbow. Sounds like there's some inflammation. It was scheduled for today, but they decided to put it off a little bit, and they say that it won't matter. We'll see. Lamar Jackson still, a lot of uncertainty surrounding his circumstances. Aaron Rodgers, we talked about this last Saturday's live stream. Still an ongoing situation with him. Interesting little tidbit. Tua Tagovailoa is doing judo to get a better. Judo, you get thrown to the ground. That's the big thing about judo. You get thrown to the ground a bunch. All three of Tua's concussions came because he bounced his head off the ground when he fell. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Jeff. And so they're trying to minimize or get him a little better acclimated to falling and, train him up a little bit. It makes perfect sense. Some concerns. Emil and I were talking about this prior to the live stream. I'm doing a number of mocks right now. Right, I've got like 4 ongoing. And people seem to be drafting him without a lot of hesitation at a pretty decent value. But we all know what the issue is with him. This is going to be not just his health, which is very important, but the success of the franchise kind of lies in them managing this situation well, and the way the attention comes. If he gets another concussion, are they going to let him back on the field? That'd be 4 in 2 years. It's a little bit of a concern, and I'm taking some solace in the fact. Hey, Scott, welcome to the chat, and I know you're in the draft already, so we'll get the draft rolling here momentarily, and I'll start commenting and kind of mix in some news with the draft, do the things I do in the coming drafts. We'll have people from the draft joining us in a conversation here on the video. Just a little heads up. The Football Diehards radio program, we've shifted to Saturday only mode. We'll be on this Saturday night at our usual time now, which is every Saturday from 7 to 9 Eastern time, except Saturday, March 3rd, the following week. We will not be on because there's a Labor baseball draft. So you might want to check out tonight on SiriusXM, the FSWA Awards. The Football Diehards magazine is nominated for Best Publication. Always great. Congratulations to Dave Richard and Nando DeFino for their Hall of Fame nods. Welcome aboard, fellows. Great, always a great time of year. Love the awards, love people getting recognition. So give a listen to that, if you will. Tonight, Colton and the Wolfman are hosting. Andy Behrens, the president of the FSWA, will be on. So not a lot of news, not a lot of information. Hi, Wendy. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. If you have questions throughout the draft, just pepper me with questions as usual. I'll be answering them this weekend. This Saturday, I'll do the usual noon. And then next week, I'm going to be off. So Wednesday night, there won't be a live stream. Saturday, the time to be determined. I'll be returning Saturday. Won't have a radio show, so I can do one at any time. So we'll dial that in, and I'll let you know via Twitter, and we'll let you know through the email if you're a subscriber to the site. Happy to have you join in the fun. Appreciate everyone. I always appreciate you guys coming. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Do all the things, the YouTubey things that the YouTubers like you to do, because it's helpful to us. Gets us more views, and we're trying to gain a little steam with this. We're going to be using this YouTube channel a lot more during the season to get out information, news. You'll still get your articles and news updates on the site as always, but just want to add a little bit. Sometimes I think the Hey, Slade, thanks for coming, man. Really appreciate it. I think, obviously, video is a very consumable way to grab this. We're going to try and do more short content and get you little tidbits out there and just do more of this live streaming, which we've been doing the last couple of years. So I really enjoy a chance to interact with you guys and get a feel for what you're interested in, right? It's helpful to me, and it's kind of a nice feedback loop. So thanks again for coming. Emo, if you want to start up the draft, feel free, and we'll get this thing rolling and get through it, and we'll see what some of the values are. I want to say, I know I started my first Superflex best ball this week. Did one for Fantasy Cares. The great John Bosch invited me along, a little charitable endeavor. Love doing that. I was surprised, even in the best ball. I mean, maybe because it's the first best ball, everyone's a little bit angstier than usual. But I want to say there's 20 quarterbacks off the board in the first 3 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 20 quarterbacks off in the first 3 rounds. One of them is Trey Lance ahead of Brock Purdy. Imagine that. Woo. So interesting start to some of these drafts. And in the other drafts, I mean, I've got 3 best balls going that we started on Football Diehards. Nothing too unusual. Wide receiver heavy, all of them in the first round. We do have one that has the most running backs I've seen go so far in the first round, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 going off in the first round. So that's the most I've seen. Travis Kelce went off 3rd overall. First 2 picks were wide receivers. Cooper Kupp came off at 6. Tyreek Hill at 9. Lamb and Adams at 11 and 12. And the running backs came off: McCaffrey, Eckler, Barkley, Henry, and Taylor. Kelce at pick 3 again. So we're starting to get a little feel for this, and it's not like surprising. I think you guys have, if you're out there drafting, you're finding out, that the receivers are going. Here we go. Scott Colby is 101. You're going to see this. I think a lot this year, people drafting Travis Kelce 101, especially people who do a lot of best balls and playing just one. Right, if you play just one, you're probably going to go, with a more conventional play. But if you play in multiple best balls, I know I will. I know my co-host on Sirius, Mike Dempsey, is very excited to draft some Travis Kelce. And why would you do that? We have a timer out already. Come on, Mississippi 80, get with it now. Don't be shocked at Kelce. So Jeff Clark is shocked. I'm not shocked at all. I mean, I think here's why. When you go in and you look at the average points per game for scoring last year, and this probably holds up for most seasons. I think there was one season where 2 years ago, Mark Andrews had a great season, averaged 17 points per game, right? But at this point, like this past season, just kind of using a semi-generic points PPR scoring system we use at Sirius for our leagues, Travis Kelce averaged nearly 16 points per game. The next closest tight end, TJ Hawkinson, averaged 11 points per game. That's 5 points a game. That makes him a player and a half. When you get a player and a half leverage, that gives you leverage over the field every week. So you're going to see some of this. And maybe you don't believe that Travis Kelce is going to hold up that well, and you don't think he's going to retain that value. That's fine. But if you think he is, the argument to take him at 101 is pretty strong, right? What other player is going to give you that? Like, Christian McCaffrey used to give you that. At some point, and maybe he will again in San Francisco. I like Christian McCaffrey. You guys have heard my rankings. Threw them out there. If you missed it, go back into our video section. You'll find my top 12 and my 13 through 24s. But my top 12, just, to kind of recap in case people missed it, is, pretty obvious. Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler. I like Cooper Kupp at 3. He's my top wide receiver. Travis Kelce, I have at 4. Justin Jefferson 5, Jamar Chase at 6. Of that top 6, if I'm in 100 best balls, and I'll be in more than that, but just to say, and I get 6 different first picks overall, each of those guys will get some. I'm going to spread my first round pick out a little bit. If I was only picking one, I would do the same thing. Something similar to last year where I thought Jonathan Taylor was the rock solid number 1. I started investing more in McCaffrey as the summer went on. But I think that's a fair way to do it, is to spread it out. If you're in a lot of these, if you're only in one of these, man, you got to tighten it up. Timothy Scrum has an interesting comment in here. I just want to hit on this before we get in here. Dallas Cowboys offensive coach is being let go. They did change their coordinator, their running backs coach, making adjustments at the quarterback coach. So rumors of drafting a QB and trading Dak. Do you think JJ is blowing up the offense? I do not. I don't, rumors of trading Dak and drafting a quarterback are pretty much rumors at this point. Like, we'll find out when the draft happens. If I'm sitting here today, I think that's the least likely outcome. I know I've seen a lot of speculation, and I think all the speculators end up with the same thing, right? Is like, no, they owe Dak a lot of money. It'd be hard to move him. Would you get back in return? There's a lot of moving pieces here, and maybe they like CJ Stroud. Maybe they do. Maybe they love him. Are they going to want to, like, when you have Dak Prescott, you're committed to him the way they are financially. I mean, just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess, Jerry Jones is a unique individual and he's going to do what he wants, but there are cooler heads that are likely to prevail there. I think Mike McCarthy in his first year as a play caller, some of these moves were made maybe to maximize the value of Dak Prescott, not necessarily for a huge change of personnel. There will be changes at running back to some degree, right? Tony Pollard, an unrestricted free agent, sounds like they will work to retain him. Ezekiel Elliott, a little more manageable to release him. He's going to have to take a pay cut or he'll be gone. They need some more speed at wide receiver. Maybe Michael Gallup can get back on track, but he wasn't an effective complement to CeeDee Lamb, who was super impressive even without that. And remember, Dak missed 5 games last year, was it? I think I'll have to. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there, but so I think this is. I think that's a little. I think it's rumor time, Timothy. I guess that's where we're at. Look, there's enough quarterback drama going on already between Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. We'll see what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo. There are more openings than there are players to fill them, as always the case. So some of the outlier players that we don't talk a lot about, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, failed in previous spots. Those guys are going to get spots, right? Because there's just not enough quarterbacks to go around. So getting back to the draft, looking at the first round, Travis Kelce, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler. This is following my rankings very closely in terms of the order of the running backs and the wide receivers like Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor. That's a little earlier than I'm ranked, but I think that's where you see him at the Fantasy Pros consensus right now. So I don't think that's out of line at all. You're hoping that Shane Steichen, by the way, Shane Steichen has shown an ability to maximize his talent, right? He's developed 2 quarterbacks in recent years in Los Angeles with Justin Herbert. In Herbert's rookie year, they threw the ball at the Chargers more than any other team. The year before this year, last year with Jalen Hurts and it started the Eagles, where he was the offensive coordinator, not the play caller until this year, but still the coordinator. They ran the ball more. So he's used different means to develop young quarterback talent and made the most of that talent in both those cases. So surely the Colts have that in mind. Jonathan Taylor could benefit from this, right? Depending on who the quarterback is. Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams at number 8, Tyreek Hill at number 9, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Stephon Diggs round out the first round. Oh, Andrea, thank you for reminding me the Lamar Jackson drama is still ongoing. We don't know what the hell is going to go on with him. I've been pretty sure that he's going to end up back with the Ravens. I still think I'm probably 90% that he's back with the Ravens. My concern, if he is back with the Ravens, and Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator, spoke about this Tuesday. I lose track of days easily. It's an old age thing, I think. Monken basically said, he was very complimentary of all Lamar's skills, including his abilities as a passer. But he even mentioned, well, will it be a problem if Lamar isn't around? Because if they tag Lamar Jackson, give him the franchise tag, and that window is now open. They've got 2 weeks to decide whether they want to franchise tag people or get them signed to long-term contracts. Ideally, everyone you want to tag has a long-term contract that works better for your salary cap. We'll see what the Giants do. Maybe a little Daniel Jones drama. It sounds like they will tag him if they don't get him a deal. Talk of him getting $45 million a year. That seems like a lot. Maybe put Saquon Barkley's status in some question, so he goes early in this draft with a little uncertainty. But I think Lamar Jackson, what Monken's upshoot was basically summed up was, look, it's football. He'll figure it out, right? But that said, it's not ideal. We saw Aaron Rodgers sit out all last offseason, and it wasn't a new offense, but he had new receiving pieces, and he was the one mostly bitching about getting on the same page. He needed those guys there to get on the same page. He wasn't there. they weren't necessarily on the same page. So there you have it. It is interesting. I see some comments. Slade, AJ Brown, steal of the draft. Team one killing it. Scott Kobe often kills things in drafts. Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, really nice value there at the end of the second round. Jalen Hurts, a nice organic, I would call it, stack, right? Especially in best ball. I'm not against stacking. I'm not trying to go out of my way or overpay to make the stacks, but when they fall into your lap like this, which I think this is kind of a natural one, then yes, I am happy to have that. Second round, CeeDee Lamb, Dalvin Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Emil Cadlick drafting one of my favorites. I've been getting him. I've seen him go in a couple drafts at the turn at the 2-1, paired up with another wide receiver like Stephon Diggs or CeeDee Lamb even, or Tyreek Hill in my case. Pat Mahomes, first quarterback off the board. Seen a lot of that. Not surprised by it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just Josh Allen, right? I think he's, it's been Mahomes and Allen are the first two. Hurts almost exclusively third off. Burrow almost exclusively the fourth off. Then it gets you get a little bit of variance from what I've seen. I think Devontae Smith is a fantastic value in round 4. Look at Emil Cadlick. Holy smokes. DK Metcalf, solid value as well. Geno Smith, quarterback, in question, right? He could be a piece. It sounds like the Seahawks are going to do everything they can to keep him. It doesn't sound like he's going to be over demanding in terms of money. So we'll see. There's plenty going to be going on over the next couple of weeks, and maybe some of the tags will be applied. The franchise tags, values are pretty high. This year, the salary cap went up. Remember, it's going to go up more next year. Could go up another 25 million. There's people who think it could go up to 240 million next year. It's 224, I want to say, this year. And that leaves the values of the non-exclusive, the high-end franchise tag. Quarterback's going to be, I want to say the non-exclusive is 32 million. Running backs 10 million. Sounds like the Giants don't want to pay Saquon 10 million. They don't want to tag him. Wide receiver 19 million. Tight end 11 million. So that gives you an idea of what the values will be. It's higher for the exclusive tags, right? So like if you want to say 42 million for quarterback. So you're paying a lot for a quarterback if you don't get a long-term deal done. Emil, are we playing this out? Scott Kobe absolutely wants to play this out. Yeah, Devontae Smith in round 4 is insane value. So, but look, we could say the same of AJ Brown at the end of the second round. I think both those guys being a little depressed is unusual. I think the thing that I'm seeing here is more running backs going off than I've seen in most drafts so far, right? You've got 4 going off in round 1. No, 5 going off in round 1. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 10 backs off the board in the first 2 rounds. That's going to push some of these receivers down. The likes of Jalen Waddle, Deebo Samuel, moving down the ranks a little bit lower than we've seen them. Amari Cooper's an interesting one. Scott Kobe, put in the chat what you think of Amari Cooper. Are we expecting a huge rise? And I'm asking you this because I drafted Amari Cooper in one of my early best balls, and I didn't feel great about it. We're expecting a big leap, right, from Deshaun Watson. Do we think we'll get it? What do you think, Scott? I'll agree with you. Slade's doing the better commentary than me. Kamara, a bold pick. Alvin Kamara. So in case those of you don't know, there's a handful of these players that have some question marks, right? Let's start with the question marks. Let's kind of work through them. Dalvin Cook coming off shoulder surgery. I don't think it's a big issue, but he's kind of not been as high end as we like. I like Nick Chubb's great play. I'm guessing that's Bijan Robinson. So here's the first guy. We don't know his team. This is where I'm seeing him drafted in almost every single draft I'm in. Dead middle of the second round. People have high hopes for him. Scott Kobe, I think with a full offseason, Watson could be a huge year for him. I kind of agree with this. Joe Mixon, a little bit of uncertainty there, right? Now, there's been some talk that maybe the Cincinnati Bengals will allow him to move on. He'll land in a good spot wherever he goes. There will be a market for him. Josh Jacobs, also a free agent. I expect him to stay with the Raiders. I think that's the best thing. For me, the ideal outcome is Josh Jacobs stays a Raider on the tag, and they continue to try to drop wheels off him like they did last year, right? We don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. Could it be Aaron Rodgers? Maybe. Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe. Brian Ziegler said today, maybe they just get him like a 1-year rental. Maybe they stick with Jarrett Stidham for a year. That's the case. Josh Jacobs looks pretty damn good here. So, but still questions for him, Mixon, Bijan Robinson, don't know the team. Then let's dig a little deeper. Brees Hall, who I've seen go earlier than this, right? He goes at 3.8 here. I think that's not a bad value. Kenneth Walker's a great value, by the way. Nicely done, Jim, for fun. Jim Furry in there. So Brees Hall, and you've probably heard me talk about this if you've been hanging around these live streams. I love Brees Hall. I think he's phenomenal. Had a phenomenal year. Also tore his ACL. Do we know exactly what the timetable is? J.K. Dobbins would say we don't. Gus Edwards would say probably not. And let's go ahead and throw Javonte Williams in there as a similar question mark. And memory serves me right, his knee injury was not a simple tear. His knee injury is a little more complex. Might take him a little more time to get back in the mix. So Alvin Kamara has the obvious at FF Drew. What's Davenport? Every time I should have this written down. Drew Davenport does a great job from Football Guys and, from the Auction Brief podcast. At Drew Davenport FF does great breakdowns of these legal situations. Check him out on Alvin Kamara. He's not drafting him, right? He's just avoiding it. I've been avoiding it. This is a pretty high price to pay here, I think, for PJ Fuller 91. There's upside there, right? Mr. Scampers, greetings. Happy to have you here. There's upside here, but, he hasn't been that 80 catch a season guy, since Drew Brees left. So I have concerns about him, but mostly my biggest concern is he's probably going to be suspended. We think he's going to be suspended. If he is convicted of this crime, he's been indicted on assault, conspiracy, etc. If he's convicted on these, the assault, I believe, the battery is a felony. He's going to miss at least 6 games, maybe more. So that's a concern for me until we get this out, and that's why Drew Davenport is saying, based on what he knows as a legal mind, he's a lawyer. He's avoiding him. I've been avoiding him too. There's going to come a point where I'll draft him, right? I mean, everything is, there's a price for everything. I think this is a little high for me. So between Kamara and Williams, there's a little risk there. That said, as much risk as there are some really solid pieces in Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, TJ Hawkinson, and James Conner. And I know what you're saying. James Conner in round 6, is that a value? I think it is. What's Arizona going to do at quarterback? We don't know. We know we have a pretty good idea Kyler Murray's not going to be ready for half the year or some period of time. A little talk just today, Michael Bidwell talked about Colt McCoy maybe not being ready to start the season. Coming off a concussion, that's not good. Maybe they're going to be in the market for one of these ancillary quarterback pieces. Whether it's a Baker Mayfield or a Carson Wentz or somebody who can get them through until Kyler Murray returns. In addition, we don't know exactly what that offense is going to look like, aside from the new head coach Jonathan Gannon suggesting that the offense will be designed to maximize Murray's talents. Well, what else are they going to do? They're committed to this guy for $260 million, right? So, and what about Swift? Andrea, you were correct. There are questions about DeAndre Swift, too. Is he a guy that the team can rely on? I don't know that the team has shown us he's that guy, right? I think this is a little high. Coach Hissler here, if I'm reading that correctly. I think that's higher than I want to pay. We also see what kind of upside he has if he's on the field more. Like, I don't think it's an unreasonable value. You got gamble. But I do think it's a gamble. But you've got Keenan Allen, there's some questions there, right? We don't know for sure if he's going to be a cap casualty or not. Mike Evans, we don't know who his quarterback's going to be. And Ezekiel Elliott, we don't know for sure what his role is going to be. DeAndre Swift, the problem for me is Jamal Williams, 262 carries last year. Is Jamal Williams back? We don't know. He's an unrestricted free agent who wants to return. Just talking to the beat writers who, follow this team on a daily basis. Talked to 2 of them in the last month. Tim Twentyman works for the team's official website, and Dave Burkett, a little more independent voice, working for the Detroit Free Press. Look, Tim tells you straight up, but Burkett talked about Swift and said basically, it's not necessarily lack of trust, just it's availability. He got hurt early in the year. He was beat up, and even late in the year when we all saw the injury report that he was practicing fully. He wasn't drawing an injury designation. That doesn't mean he's healthy. Right? He's still a little beat up there. So I have concerns. Like you guys know, I'm injury agnostic. I don't think players are hurt until they're hurt. In this case, though, like I'm concerned about chronic injuries. I try not to be concerned about players who are chronically injured. Swift has been chronically injured. Isaiah Pacheco comes off in round 7. What is it with Pacheco? I see him going late. I mean, why is Pacheco 4 rounds cheaper than DeAndre Swift? Why do you guys think that? Is it because we don't have faith that Andy Reid? Is it the rumors that maybe Kareem Hunt is heading back to Kansas City as a free agent? I don't know. Antonio Gibson coming off surgery for PJ Fuller 91 as well, so needs to get some things done. Let's look at some of the builds on these teams and see who's doing something we like. Scott loves Swift talent, but because of Williams and his propensity to be banged up a lot, I had to pass on him. Understandable. So Scott will start out with the team 1, Travis Kelce, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Amari Cooper. Love that start. Cam Akers is my running back of choice in this range, along with, I think Pierce is fine. If I can get James Conner there, I'm fine. I'm willing to pay up a little bit on James Conner just for the reason that I don't think the Cardinals are going to have a quarterback. What are they going to do? James Conner is the primary running back under contract, and he's not going anywhere. And as long as he doesn't get beat up, he's plenty capable. Also, he gets beat up. Cam Akers, to me, is like a logical pick here. We saw that late season run for him. Down the stretch, he probably won some of you some leagues, right? And doing that with a lousy offensive line, I'm hoping the Rams focus on that this offseason. We've seen teams in the past, whether it's the Chargers a couple years ago, the Chiefs a couple years ago, the Cincinnati Bengals last year. You can turn an offensive line around in a year. I'm hoping this is a focus of the Rams. They need it. My shares of Cooper Kupp need it. Somebody's shares of Matt Stafford are going to need that. Stafford has not come off the board yet. So I like that. I like that start. And then a couple of receivers with plenty of upside. George Pickens, who, according to all the beat writers I've talked to, is the player you want. That basically Deontay Johnson is going to become more of a possession type player, and that we should expect George Pickens to continue his ascent. Calvin Ridley, assuming he gets off, the suspension, which I think he will. I think everyone thinks he will. Dame, I'm surprised too. Dame overboard. Surprised to see Justin Jefferson go at the 4th pick overall. I think this was a function of Travis Kelce going and people liking running backs. I think this is, again, you've heard this, Dame. I'll repeat it for everyone else. I think this is all perfectly defensible. I think Kelce is number 1, defensible. McCaffrey, I have as my number 1. There will be times when I draft Kelce ahead of him, times I draft Kupp ahead of him, times I draft Jefferson ahead of him, times I draft Chase ahead of him, and times I draft Eckler ahead of him. That's just how it's going to be. What if any QB that was not a starter in 22 will be a starter in 23? Jimmy Garoppolo started some. Desmond Ridder started some. Somebody in Arizona, because it sounds like Colt McCoy's not going to be ready. I don't know. Maybe they find someone who started. I don't know, Timothy. I'd have to think about that. Anyone else want to throw in the comments there? Again, you're watching the Football Diehards YouTube channel. This is our Wednesday night on the hot seat. We're doing a mock draft here. If you want to follow along in real time, we're kind of commenting on how the teams are being built, some of the values we're seeing. If you see someone you think is gone super early or way later than you thought, put it in the chat. We will discuss. Like that. Sam Howell. There you go. He had 1 start, though. I guess I'm taking this too far, right? Definitely Sam Howell will be the starter for Washington. And he had 1 game. Looked pretty good. Beat the Cowboys. Reminded me a little bit of Taylor Heineke, right? Just maybe a similar skill set, maybe a little more of the skills, though. So that's a good one. Thank you, Dame. Let's look at Jeffrey, 33.99. McCaffrey, Jacobs, a traditional heavy running back start. The Jalen Waddle is wide receiver 1. I think there's an argument to be made there. You have to hope. For me, Tyreek Hill seemed to be super successful no matter who the quarterback was. Jalen Waddle, maybe a little more dependent on Tua Tagovailoa. Again, love that he's taking the judo lessons. Learn how to fall. Don't bounce that head off the ground. It's going to be a big deal this year, man. I like the way the Kelce team's added up. That's Scott Kobe's team. I like that a lot as well. Could be Tyrod Taylor if he signs with Arizona. I don't know if he's going to be Tyrod or Tyrod this year, so I said both. He changes it up a lot. Maybe someone for the Houston Texans will be a starter that we have not seen. Could be a rookie starter for the team that we have not seen. So that's a fair point. So following up on this, Jalen Waddle is your first receiver off the board. DeAndre Hopkins, I think that's a good play, even without some questions. In the 5th round, Lamar Jackson in 4. Look, wherever he plays, that doesn't seem like an unusual. So I have problems with Lamar's season last year. It was lousy. He was not playing well when he was healthy. But he didn't have all the pieces around him, right? That offense struggled a little bit, regardless of who was under center. I have high hopes for a rebound. I'm hoping he gets a deal done or accepts his franchise tag if that's how it works out. So he's not out on the installation of this Todd Monken offense, which was very good in his previous stops as a pro. In his last 2 years at Georgia, super high-flying offense. Ran a lot of 2 tight end sets, something that fits that talent set that we have in Baltimore. So I like those. I mean, I think those receivers, there's some concerns there. A little uncertainty about the quarterback situation for Jalen Waddle. I mean, not uncertainty in that we don't think it's going to be Tua, but uncertainty in that we think Tua can remain in the locker room. Jacoby Brissett may have earned a shot somewhere. I think Arizona, I totally think that Arizona is the wild card here, like especially after the comments by Michael Bidwell, the owner today, that it's not clear if Colt McCoy is going to be ready to start. I think Arizona makes the most sense. Look, the Raiders. I mean, if they don't go with one of the higher priced guys, and the comments by Brian Ziegler today kind of suggested that they're open-minded to that. That doesn't mean they are, but he's saying they are. By the way, the scouting combine is next week. Pay attention. Tuesday, Wednesday, every coach and GM will talk. And I know this seems like way too early for anything to be determined. You get some pretty good tidbits, experience tells me, in those things. I mean, you find out some things that might raise your eyebrows a little bit. Pay attention to those. Add them to your data sets and build them into your draft strategies, because a lot of times the things that are said are worth noting. I'll just say that. I can give you examples. Every year, there's like multiple examples. The one that really stands out was Greg Schiano became coach of the Buccaneers a few years back. Josh Freeman was a quarterback there. Seemed to be like he was pretty well installed. Schiano came out and just said, we're probably going to be looking for a quarterback. And you're thinking, wow, they have Josh Freeman. Well, it turns out he knew Josh Freeman better than we did. And that was it. Josh Freeman was out in no time flat. So these things do happen. Just pay attention. Good to listen. Good to and use the offseason like this. Everything is a piece of data that you plug into a stream of data. No single thing is determinative of anything at this point in time, right? Don't look at it like that. Don't say, he said this, that's definitive. No, it's not. It's a piece. Then you measure everything from those pieces, right? Especially these kind of flag planting comments that you're going to get, these initial press conferences at the combine, or where you kind of get the first feel for the approach, right? But that could change. But what you do is you measure what's being said against what's happening after. This is the key to figuring these things out. Is, do the actions match the words? Do they add more words and then back up the words with actions and continue building on that? Hello, Jay Tamez. Thanks for coming. Appreciate your time. So there's a little bit like this time of year is we're going to hear the rumors. We heard them, Timothy pointed out earlier, the Dak Prescott rumors. You're going to hear tons of rumors, right? And 99% of the rumors are not going to be true. John Law will not be at the combine, but you know where John Law will be on Saturday, noon? Right here in the Football Diehards YouTube channel, talking to me. He's got his quarterbacks and running backs are out on the website. His top-ranked players. He's going to have wide receivers, I believe, out at some point this week, but we're probably focused on running backs on Saturday. We'll have him back semi-regularly. We'll be talking rookies right up through the draft, so plenty to go on there, but he will not be at the combine. He will be studying from afar, as he likes to do. I know a lot of people, some of the key people, like I know Matt Waldman and I talk about this a lot. He writes the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. Great piece of work, right? You should check it out if you haven't, at Matt Waldman, RSP, on the Twitter. But, it's a great networking kind of situation. But I don't know if anything definitive happens there. Like, nothing that's going to change anyone's minds. I think, well, unless like somebody comes way short or way ahead of what they are. But this is not a needle moving event, the combine. The 8 spot. We'll get to that, Jay. We'll get to that. Let's go to number 3, Team 3, Mississippi 80. Austin Eckler. By the way, just we'll finish out this Jeffrey 30 399 team. AJ Dillon, I think, is not a horrible value in the 7th round. Brandon Cooks, great value in round 8. Traylon Burks, we'll see. Rashad Penny, we'll see. Jordan Addison, the rookie. I think the rookies are where it's at, man. The rookie wide receiver class you see in the round before, in round 10. This is round 11. And like some people have Addison as their top play at the position, right? We'll talk about maybe you hit the Laub up for that. Yeah, some people have Quentin Johnson first. Some people have Jackson Smith and Jigba. He went around earlier. So you're going to see the rookie wide receivers coming off early, and I think you should, right? Or coming off for sure, because turns out they are pretty productive. This is not my old fantasy days where rookie receivers come in and take forever to, develop. We've all heard the 3rd year breakout or 4th year. Just took time to develop because college offenses were different, or now they're different. They're more pass happy. They're more pro style offenses. So interesting to see how that goes. And maybe Jacoby Myers might be the steal of this draft in around 10. Guy's totally an overlooked commodity. Anyway, Mississippi 80, Austin Eckler, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, Leonard Fournette, Damian Pierce. We'll see how that plays out. Goes to get Derek Waller at tight end. Michael Thomas, not sure if he'll be back or not, but I think so. I like him. Gabe Davis, I think, is a value this year, where last year he was overpriced. I think I might be drafting some Gabe Davis. You guys that have been here all season long listening to me lament Gabe Davis shares. This is the price I want to pay for Gabe Davis for those big games. Kareem Hunt, maybe a little bit of a wild card there. Then doubled up on the quarterbacks, going Aaron Rodgers, who we do not know where he'll be playing, and Deshaun Watson, who we know where he'll be playing. I don't think that's a horrible price on Deshaun Watson, honestly. Nicely done, Mississippi 80. Hawkaholic 4. Justin Jefferson, Joe Mixon, Mark Andrews, Chris Godwin, Justin Herbert, DJ Moore. This is pretty good. David Montgomery, a free agent, not sure where he'll be. Probably be a leaned on heavily commodity. Jameson Williams, a guy that has a lot of upside in this offense. I like some of these drafts. Devin Singletary, not entirely sure he'll remain a Buffalo Bill. He's an unrestricted free agent. Maybe the draft determines his future there to some degree. Darius Toney, I think at this point of an early draft, if this was a best ball, this would be a great play. And then we have another rookie. Look at the rookies going. Love this. Haven't seen a lot of Tucker going. Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. Have not seen a lot of that. And not surprised, though. Let's go over to Coach Histler. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, DeAndre Swift. A little reaching on the Taylor and Swift for me, but I get it. Keenan Allen, a little concerned about his future. Look, we're drafting these teams without all the information we need to draft these teams. We all know this at this time of year, right? So I'm not going to knock people for, oh, wow, Keenan Allen might get released. Yes, he might get released. Also, many things might happen between then and now. Mike Evans, don't know his quarterback, but I feel like this is a really good chance to get some great value. You'll be surprised to learn that Mike Evans has been very good with a series of not very good quarterbacks over the course of his career, right? Go look it up. Look at some of the guys he's played with. They haven't all been Tom Brady, right? So expecting him to fail is probably not a great expectation. Ezekiel Elliott, we'll see what his future holds. Dalton Schultz, a little more uncertainty about his future. Will he overprice himself? The Cowboys have 2 young, Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot. They seem to be pretty enamored with. If Dalton Schultz, they played on the tag last year. Maybe he needs a similar kind of price tag this year to stick around. We'll see. Adam Thielen needs to work out his contract issues. Jackson Smith. It's Juju Smith-Schuster. That's pretty good value, assuming he stays in place. Another one who we don't necessarily know. So how are you guys working this when you're going into these drafts? You tell yourself a story and you stick with it. That's how I do. Like I say, like Josh Jacobs is a great example. I tell myself a happy story and I draft that happy story. My happy story is Josh Jacobs gets the franchise tag from the Raiders and they continue to drive him like a rental car. Just bang the hell out of him. They don't care. Lots of carries, lots of workload. Not sure about the quarterback situation. Look, it's Aaron Rodgers even. I'm not sure that keeps Josh Jacobs from having a great season, right? So interesting to see. Interesting. So that's how I do it. I tell myself a happy story about a player or a sad story, right? Like Brees Hall. Oh, I'm worried that he's going to be J.K. Dobbins part 2, where he comes back from this ACL, but it takes him a little time to get going. Look, I'm drafting him. I still think that's telling me a sad story. But that's what you do. You kind of tell yourself these stories about players given uncertainty at this point of the season, and you work through it. And that's, you draft your take. Ideally, you're in many drafts. Scott Kobe, I try to tell myself a story where the pieces interlock with each other with every pick I make. So if you will notice his draft, he had A.J. Brown followed by Jalen Hurts. Interlocks nicely. I like some of these James Cook, some of these later picks at running back. Rachaad White, great value. Most people think that he's going to be the primary guy. I've talked to many beat writers there in Tampa Bay who think that's going to be the case. Also, after that, he took another one of the rookies who people have spoken highly of, Tyjae Spears out of where did he play at? Tulane? Is that correct? Tulane. I like J.K. Dobbins more this year. No love for Daniel Jones. Yes, there's love for Daniel Jones, but somebody took Tom Brady, accidentally killed Thanos. Come on, chill. Are you auto drafting, bro? What's up with that? Tom Brady's not playing that we know of. Geno Smith is a great value. I think he's going to remain a Seattle Seahawk. I've been seeing some really good values at quarterback. Russell Wilson. Are we thinking Russell Wilson's going to have a rebound with Sean Payton? So 2 things. I don't think he can be as bad as he was last year. But maybe he can. Like I'm telling myself, the happy story I'm telling myself about Russell Wilson is not that he's going to move back into the top 10, but that he's going to be a solid starter for the Denver Broncos and probably have some good games. You saw late this season, he had some nice games, right? Kind of came on a little stronger. What did that coincide with, by the way? Did that coincide with a change of coaches? I think it did. Russell Wilson. I want to look at the numbers a little bit just to highlight the exposition here. Last few games of the season, fantasy points were more copious. 28 and 26 in week 17 and 18. He had a 29-point game in week against Kansas City. So pretty solid there. I want to see the touchdown passes. So he had 3 touchdown passes against Kansas City. He had 1 against the Rams in week 16. He had 1 against the also had 3 interceptions against the Rams. Had 1 touchdown pass in week 17, 1 or 3 touchdown passes in the finale in week 18. So, I think that gives you a little hope, right? For him, given this value, I think that's a great price. So anyway, for a lock-in starter, Daniel Jones going in around 12. That seems like a pretty good value too. Look, I think the happy story you tell yourself with Daniel Jones is he re-signs, obviously. Scott Kobe, I think Russell Wilson could be a great value come draft season, July and August. I don't see him moving up that much. I don't either. Maybe top 12. I agree with you, Andrea. Daniel Jones, though, like a lot of chatter that he's going to want. He's got a new agent. He's going to want more money. I think when you're investing in Daniel Jones, you're as much investing in Brian Dable and his ability to coach up quarterbacks. Remember when we didn't think Josh Allen was great when he was a rookie? He was inaccurate. And a lot of complaints about Josh Allen. He kind of overcame them, and he got better each year. And he got better, I think, in part because Brian Dable's there. Expecting Daniel Jones to be Josh Allen is a reach. Expecting him to get better every year is not, right? And so I think the thing about Josh Allen is he brings more rushing equity than people think. When you look at these quarterbacks that went ahead of him, runs a little more than Geno Smith, runs a hell of a lot more than Tom Brady. I'll tell you that. Look, Jared Goff in this round is also a good value. So is Kirk Cousins. Quarterbacks went late, right? I think Kenny Pickett went earlier than he should have. To me, in my estimation, CDI 8 fly. Let's get to team 8 because he wants to know what he's doing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pat Tamez, Devontae Adams, like it. Nick Chubb, like it. Brees Hall, if he's healthy, love it. Garrett Wilson, love it. Terry McLaurin, like it. Christian Kirk, love it. Trevor Lawrence, love it. Evan Ingram, assuming he's back in Jacksonville, love it. Brian Robinson Jr., I think the volume's going to be there, love it. Deontay Foreman, we'll see where he lands. Don't not like it. San Francisco defense. All right. Donovan Peoples-Jones, nice upside play. Think this is a good draft. I feel like I'm Dave Portnoy eating a pizza here. It's kind of got a good undercarriage. It's crispy. Kirk Cousins is quarterback 2 in round 13. This is a good draft. This is a good draft. Jay Tamez, nicely done. Let's look at some of these others. Kitchen Cinco, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson. You're taking a chance here, not knowing the team, not on the talent. I think this is where he's going almost every draft. Joe Burrow, great play. I have high hopes for Jerry Jeudy. Who else was faring well down the stretch in Denver? It was Jerry Jeudy. By the way, JR1616 loves Pollard. I thought he was a good value as well going in the fourth round. He was finished inside the top 10 last year. I don't know that he's not going to see similar usage. J.K. Dobbins at round 5, hopefully fully healthy. Yes. Drake London. Yes. David Njoku. Earlier than I draft him, but yes. Marquise Brown. All right. We'll see. Jahmyr Gibbs. That's a good one. Jackson Smith and Jigba. We'll see where he lands. Greg Dulcich. I think kind of a sleeper play for me, one that I like an awful lot. I think with Sean Payton there, the tight end will become more prominent, and he seems to have that nice talent. I don't know what to make of Charbonnet. Quentin Johnson. This is the rookie draft right here. Nicely done, Kitchen Cinco. We'll talk about more about this with John Laub. C.J. Stroud even. Future quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Rumor has it. This is the rookie draft. Nicely done, Kitchen Cinco. Thank you for that. CDI Fly, 8 Fly, if I'm reading that correctly. Cooper Kupp, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, George Kittle. No complaints about Kittle there, especially if Brock Purdy's the quarterback. Mike Williams, love it. Miles Sanders, going to find a team for him. Don't know where he'll be playing, but I'm betting it's someone who likes him better than Philadelphia does, because Philadelphia doesn't seem to like him that much for a 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, he was fine. I like him more than I always joke with the beat writers in Philadelphia. Why do the Eagles not like Miles Sanders as much as the rest of us? They say they do, but they don't treat him like that. Kenny Pickett, I thought was early. Brandon Ayuk, solid value. Jerick McKinnon, we'll see. I don't mind the value. Jacoby Myers, great value. Tyler Boyd, not bad. Khalil Herbert, this may be a steal depending on what happens with David Montgomery. Nicely done. The draft itself is over. Jared Goff, I love that value there. Jets, Mayor, I'm fine with that. We went through Tamez, TDF. Let's go for Jim Furry's team. Jim for fun. Jim F for fun. Tyreek Hill, Pat Mahomes, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard. That's a great start. Chris Olave adds to it. Pat Freiermuth, I think a top 10 tight end. Isaiah Pacheco, great value. Cortland Sutton, come on, Russell Wilson. We need that rebound, young man, to bring some of these pieces back to life. Jamal Williams, he scored a lot of touchdowns last year, people. If he stays in Detroit, I don't see the role changing significantly. Will he get another 260 carries? I don't think so, but doesn't need him. He gets the prime real estate carries. Jahan Dotson, some people would argue the 1B to Terry McLaurin's 1A going forward. We'll see what this offense looks like with Eric Bieniemy in charge. I think it's weird. They hired Eric Bieniemy. Look, I get why he moved on. Talked about this, did a short video on this, or done some video on this. I get why he moved on, right? I mean, he is on single-year, one-year contracts, a series of them the last 5 years. Seems to be his role there. Not being a play caller was one of the things stifling him. But if you're going to Washington and Ron Rivera is saying the reason he got rid of Scott Turner, who I thought did a fine job of scheming guys up like Dotson and Curtis Samuel, and when he had a quarterback, making great use of Terry McLaurin, why did he leave? Because Ron Rivera wants to run the ball more. Are you bringing in a West Coast offensive guy? I don't know. We'll see. Shady McCoy had some thoughts on that. Didn't think Eric Bieniemy was really great coaching the passing game. Teammates have argued with him and said that's not the case. So we'll see what goes on there. But either way, Jahan Dotson, I think a great value at this point in the draft. Around 10, I guess that is. Yes, I'll take that. Geno Smith in round 11, fantastic. Sky Moore in round 12, all right. Raheem Mostert, that last pick, very good. Emil Cadillac was having a very good draft early. I haven't paid attention since. Let's see if he finished strong. Oh, and at a glance, he certainly did. Saquon Barkley and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ramondre Stevens, Devontae Smith in round 4. Michael Pittman in round 5. Justin Fields in round 6. Emil's been doing a couple drafts. Christian Watson, we'll see. So all the Aaron Rodgers drama is obscuring, how great a rookie season Christian Watson had once he was up to speed. Remember, he was injured last summer, had surgery in June, had to overcome all of that. So watch that, watch that a little bit, right? That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But if the Packers are all in on Jordan Love and they're willing to move on from Aaron Rodgers, and that's what the discussion has been, not just the most recent Bob McGinn thing where he went all loco on Aaron Rodgers and said the Packers are disgusted with him and are ready to move on. And he also said that, one of the reasons why is Jordan Love has been everything they hoped he would be. I have seen others report that as well. So we'll see. Interesting pick there. Tyler Algier, starting running back in round 8. I'll take that all day long. Tua, tons of upside when he's on the field, right? Zach Ertz, look, if he's back, he is going to be heavily targeted in Arizona. Rashad Bateman, if he's back, he is the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore. Michael Carter, if Breece Hall doesn't start the season at full speed, Michael Carter is going to be very busy early on. Isaiah likely to have a role. Did I mention Todd Monken at Georgia ran more 2 tight end sets than any other offense in the land, or was right up there? Chuba Hubbard. Deontay Foreman's gone. Maybe Chuba Hubbard's the starter there. Chase Claypool. Does he finally turn into a thing with a full offseason? There's a lot to like there. Well done, Emil. Chill Thanos. I had questions, but let's go through it. Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones. I don't think there's any questions there. DK Metcalf is your wide receiver 1. I'm assuming Geno Smith's going to be back. I don't hate this. Kyle Pitts. Will the talent ever win out here? Will the quarterback play ever allow it? I would have taken T.J. Hawkinson over Kyle Pitts all day long. I would have taken T.J. Hawkinson over George Kittle. I've been taking him over Mark Andrews. It's a heavy workload there, man. But anyway, Tyler Lockett. Do you want 2 receivers on the same team? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, especially when they're very productive, and they were both very productive with Geno Smith. Deontay Johnson, I think, is your wide receiver 3, is phenomenal. I don't have a complaint there. Kyler Murray, I have questions about. Don't think he'll be ready to take on the season. I think it'll be halfway through. Michael Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame, Brian Larkin's interested in. He will go. A lot of buzz about this guy. One thing I saw, James Frey, well, thank you, wondering if I took Mahomes too early. I think you did, but I think you made up for it. I think you coming back and getting Walker and Pollard and Olave and Freiermuth. I think you did fine, even taking him too early. Kyler Murray, too early. Elijah Mitchell, we'll see. Dawson Knox, solid. Allen Robinson, potential rebound. I'm not against this. Tom Brady, I think you're going to have problems at quarterback. Chill, Thanos. I think you're going to have problems. Alan Lazard, we'll see where he's playing. If he's in Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers is as well, I'll be fine with him. And finally, PJ Fuller 91, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, rock solid turn there. Love it. Got a little off the rails here. Alvin Kamara, uncertain future here, right? I mean, we just have to acknowledge it. He could be suspended for some period of time. Maybe not. But even if he's not, it hasn't been great since Drew Brees left. He hasn't been the receiving asset that we saw. Hello, Estevie. Hi. Oh, okay. There we go. Yes. It's Scott Fishbowl in Los Angeles. I was there live. It was great. All right. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, sir. And say hello to your daughter for me. I'm not keen on the Alvin Kamara and Javonte Williams because I'm not sure how fast his return is going to be. We'll see. I mean, look, if he's back and ready to go fairly early, like by October, I'd be pretty satisfied with that Javonte Williams pick at that price. TJ Hawkinson, love James Conner. Not sure about Antonio Gibson. Think he'll be a secondary piece, but that'll be fine at this price range. Dak Prescott, solid price. Darnell Mooney, maybe kind of an overlooked commodity. Damian Harris, we'll see where he ends up. Hello, Golf Boy. Thanks, James. Thanks. So Mr. Scamper says McDaniels should go get Elijah Mitchell and bring him to Miami. On this, we agree. Elijah Mitchell needs to be freed. Free him. The Damian Harris, kicker, Hunter Renfrow, we'll see. Alexander Madison, maybe a nice play there. Zay Jones, we'll see there as well. Great draft, everybody. I thought it was very nicely done. Drop it in the comments who you thought had the best draft. Thank you, Scott, for coming. Appreciate you drafting. We'll do more of these again. Next week, I will be off Wednesday. We might adjust the time, or next week. So this week I will be here. Next week I will be off Wednesday. We'll be back Saturday. Look at, I'm all confused from the draft. I'll be here Saturday at noon with John Lobb. We'll be talking rookies, so watch out for that. Probably focus on the running backs, which means we'll talk about Bijan Robinson an awful lot. How enjoyable is that? And then next week is when I won't be here, Wednesday. So there will be no live stream Wednesday night. I'll be here Saturday, but I'm not sure what time. So if I'm not, I'm going to be traveling, and I'll be traveling home on Saturday. Don't have a radio show that night, so I didn't stress out getting early tickets. So I might do it a little later in the day, but we'll be here for a live stream that following Saturday. There will be no Football Die Hard show that night. There will be one this week. Go figure. So going forward on the SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, will be on Saturday night, 7 to 9. Thanks, Dame. Thanks, Mr. Scampers. Appreciate you guys coming. Thank you, Andrea, so much. Appreciate JR, all the regulars. Really appreciate you coming and checking this out. We have a great time with this. We'll get you more involved. By the way, if you scroll to the top of this chat, you'll see Emel's email. If you want to get in one of these mocks, send him a note. So we'll set you up in advance so you can be in the mock drafts. We'll be doing other ones as well. We'll be bringing some of the drafters in on video in addition, and kind of talk about them, about their drafts and their views on how it's going. We'll do some super draft at one point, maybe do a standard draft, maybe do a 10-teamer or something. There's the address right there. You can see it in the chat. So if you want to get in on one of these mocks, send Emil a email. Say that 10 times fast. And we'll make sure you get set up and you can take part in one of these drafts. And as you can see, they're mock drafts, but I don't do a lot of mocking because everyone's drafting pretty well. I agree. I think Emil won this one. Scott Kobe right there with him. I liked a lot of these teams. Look, it's February, people. We're drafting in February. These are damn good drafts for February. But why are we drafting in February? Why are we doing this? What the hell's the matter with us? Well, nothing. I have 4 best ball drafts ongoing right now. Why are we doing them early? Because when August comes, I want to be drafting to be second nature. I want to know when I'm going to get players. I want to know when players are going off the board. I want to be able to sit there and say, wow, if I take this guy in round 2, I'm liable to get this guy in round 6. Right? I mean, I want that level of comfort with how drafts play out. And how do I do that? Repetitions. Repetitions, people. Reps matter. Get in your reps, man. Go. I love doing best balls. That's one of the great reasons. Good night, Andrea. Thanks for coming. Love doing best balls because there's a little money on the line. I can win some money. But also it's setting me up for August when the drafts that matter most are happening, right? The ones, your home leagues, the leagues that you really have a strong desire to win. The comfort level you build in these early drafts will pay off great return on investment there. So thanks everyone for coming. Football Diehards on the radio Saturday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Mike Dempsey and myself. Then I will be here Saturday afternoon at noon with John Laub. You can go to the website. Laub's rookie reviews on the quarterbacks and running backs are up. We'll probably discuss the running backs. He'll have receivers up pretty soon. So check that out. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks, James. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate y'all. Thanks, Golf Boy. Again, if you haven't already, hit the subscription button here, the notify bell, hit the like button if you like what you see, hit the dislike button if you did not. Otherwise, I'll see you on Saturday with John Laub, the Gridiron Scholar, talking rookies. Thanks for coming. Thanks for drafting.